and Joe are coming in. We're just studying having a decent crowd.
We posted it in the grouping.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah, I've got a guest that is trying to get in right now too, so.
Oh, perfect.
And what about Bob?
I'm sorry, that's a movie.
Yeah, what about Bob?
Yeah, what about
No, is it Bob? Was that the movie name?
It'd probably be
Yeah, Mark's all over it. He's emailed him.
Yeah.
So he has the link as well.
Sure if they.
Morning, Summer. Morning, Roger.
So. Oh, yeah, so that ain't even running. It's not even going to it.
Yeah, right.
I see.
Maybe it's for daddy. So.
Oh, yeah, yes.
I hope it's, but you, are you getting that? We're getting the bill now.
Yeah. And then, got reimbursed by John.
Right, I wonder,
Money, that's what we're paid for, like 2 years.
okay.
All right, good morning, everybody. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I know we have a couple people that are still waiting to get in, but we will get them in, I'm sure. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Today, I want to talk a little bit before we get started about the party that we have tomorrow. So 12 to 2, everything's going to be set up. If you don't have the address, it's in the group chat. If you have any questions about it, let me know. I'm going to have plenty of food. There's 18 people reserved. I've got food for 30 coming out, so please bring an appetite. And I'm honored to share with y'all that if you don't know already, our club a couple days ago just got president distinguished. We achieved all the goals we needed to that. And I know that Jacob and I, especially on the board, have been working diligently all year to make that happen. And we did it with about 2 weeks to spare. So I was sweating it a little bit at the end. And point of order, as far as meetings coming up, July 4th, we will not have a meeting. We will not have a meeting on July 4th because
it actually falls right on there.
it falls right on
that's
July 4th.
next.
Yeah.
Do you guys, doing the parade with the truck, hopefully the horse? Do you guys want to have, like, for Toastmasters or Rotary? I've already got one group from here from the church, the special needs group, we're putting together a special Olympics.
I'm going to say short answer, yes, but let's talk about it afterwards. Thank you so much for bringing that up. I remember you did that last year. We're trying to do that last year too.
Yep.
I'd like to introduce our pledge quote today. Roger, are you ready?
I am ready. All right. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Please stand and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States
of America
and to the republic which stands
one nation
God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, and let's do the pledge to the Texas flag.
Honor
the Texas flag. Pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. And for the quote of the day, in every walk with nature, one receives far more than he seeks. John Moore, Scottish-born American naturalist. And back to you, Toastmaster.
Okay, thank you so much, Roger. Appreciate that. Lee, I know Lee is a guest. Lee, are you able to turn on your camera? Excellent.
Hello.
Excellent. Lee's one of my friends and guests today, so thank you for joining us.
Welcome.
Welcome. I'd like to now introduce the Toastmaster. Me, I'm the Toastmaster today. And Jacob asked me to be Toastmaster, and as I was thinking about opening remarks that I wanted to make, I had so many different stories that I could share. But right off the bat, camping means so many things to so many people. It could mean roughing it out in the rugged wilderness, to glamping, which it looks like Michelle is ready for. So I have experienced all of this. When I was Jacob's age, I was more apt to be in a tent and rough it out there. When I got married, I told my wife, let's go tent camping. I have a story about that later. But shortly after that, the only way to go camping for us was to include the great wilderness with air conditioning. There's no better way to go camping than to enjoy stepping into all the comforts of life, like an oven and a bathroom and a queen size bed. So I highly recommend doing the glamping if you're able to.
That's funny, you got Bob's coming on.
Oh, Bob? Okay, Bob, good morning. John, good morning. Thank you all for joining us. We've had some website issues this morning. At this point, let's go ahead and introduce the grammarian, the joke master today. Rick, come on.
Divisions in his own party about what he should do. Hold out for negotiations or join the attack. One key advisor who's been
Yeah, my first.
spotted at the White House after close.
My first joke is a personal experience. My wife considered a hotel that didn't have anything but a shower as roughing it. No bathtub, roughing.
No bed.
No, it had. That didn't work. The one that I thought was rather humorous. Of course, I've lost it. Motorhome got helplessly bogged down in a muddy hole along a dirt road. And after a few minutes, a passing farmer drove by on his tractor and offered to pull him out for only $100. After the motorhome was back on dry ground, the RVer said to the farmer, "You must be making a pretty penny pulling vehicles out of the mud at night and day." "Well," replied the farmer, "I only pull out motorhomes during the day. At night, I have to haul water to fill up the hole."
Word of the day. Carla, would you like to come up and do that for us?
Put yourself on mute. I can hear your TV, honey.
You get multiple to me, Stevie.
Somebody's got a radio on. Bob, there you go. You muted and socket.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters, as grammarian, we are all here to improve ourselves as speakers. And at the crux of speaking is language. So as grammarian, I will be focusing on language in a way that helps all of us to present ourselves in a more confident, knowledgeable, and commanding manner, thus helping us improve as speakers. Today's word of the day is forage. Forage is a verb. It means to search widely for food or provisions, and it fits in with our theme very nicely because when we're camping, we often forage for food and other things that we need. A sample sentence of this word in a professional setting is, as we build our go-to-market plan, we'll need to forage for insights, not just from industry reports, but directly from our customers and frontline teams. Forage.
Good.
Our next role is timer. Eric, would you please come up and tell us what the timer does?
Good morning, everybody. To everyone in person out there in virtual land, and to our guest, Lee, drop off the key, Lee, and get yourself free. That's an old line from an old song by the Steve Miller Band. Anyways, I'll be your timer today. We have one speech, and that's a 5 to 7 minute speech. So when you see this, that means you have hit 5 minutes. That's minimum time. When you see this, that's 6 minutes. And when you see this, when you see that red card, that's 7 minutes, and you have 30 seconds to wrap it up. Or one there's one evaluation a day, that's 2 to 3 minutes. This is minimum time, that's 2 minutes. This is 2 minutes, 30 seconds. And that, and this is 3 minutes, which is 30 seconds to wrap it up. And for our table topics, Lee is a guest, so you don't have to participate.
Yeah, he does. He's my buddy.
So for table topics, you have at least a minute to speak. So this is 1 minute, a minute and a half, and 2 minutes. And at that point, you have 30 seconds to wrap it up. So that's what I will be doing today. Back to you, Tim.
Thank you so much, Aaron. Our vote counter for today is Summer Merriman. Summer, please tell us about the vote counter.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and our guest, Lee. I will be your vote counter, which means I will be tallying and foraging through the votes for the winner of Best Speech, Best Evaluator, Best Chair, and last but not least, Best Table Topics.
Excellent. Thank you, Summer.
And my phone number is in the chat, but also for those who don't have it, it is 713-314-0152. You just go ahead and text me your votes and I'll tally them up.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Our next role is Table Topics Master. Mark, please come to the front and tell us what's in store for us.
Yes, morning guys. I'm going to be the table topics master this morning, so that's going to be the kind of the improv part of it. So I'll be asking a whole bunch of searching questions and foraging for answers. So that's going to be my role this morning, guys. So look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least, our general evaluator is Michelle. Michelle, please tell us about your role today.
Good morning, campers. Welcome to Camp Deerwood. As we begin this journey together, I will be your guide. I will make sure that you stay on the path throughout the campgrounds, because be careful if you are foraging for berries. Be careful because there are snakes in the woods. Secondly, I heard recently that there is a Sasquatch, and if you don't know what a Sasquatch is, that is Bigfoot. There was a sighting in the one southern part of the campgrounds. Now, I also heard that Richard Newman had visited that section of the campgrounds. So I don't know if it was Richard Newman or Sasquatch, but we will just keep our eyes open. And as I continue to help guide you through this, not only meeting, but the camp, and to have it a spectacular and fun adventure, we will also be giving guidance throughout this meeting as well as through our camping experience. I do want you to remember to bring your sunscreen. It is so important to stay covered with hats, sunscreen. It's also so important. We get to have so much fun. We forget to stay hydrated. So drink your water. Back to you, Jim.
Excellent. Thank you, Michelle. Our first speaker today, if you haven't heard him speak, you are in for a treat. Richard Newman has been a member in Deerwood Toastmasters for less than Fernando and still feels like he has a lot to learn about communication and leadership. This morning, Richard is completing his level 4 elective project, creating a compelling blog as he continues his journey on the presentation mastery path. This path was way outside of his comfort zone, and he tries to challenge himself with his projects. This type of project helps Richard to challenge himself as he learns to improve his communication skills. Please welcome Richard Newman with his speech, The Joys of Travel.
Yeah. Fellow Toastmasters, it's good to see you in person. a picture is worth 1,000 words. I was trying to figure out who that was attributed to. Apparently, some people think it was to Napoleon Bonaparte, who said something along that same line, or perhaps an advertising executive. But what I found is a picture is pretty nice to look at, but it really, when you go back, I'll be in this moment and we'll take a picture. And then a few days later or a week later, I'll see it and I'll think, that just doesn't do it. That doesn't do everything that you need. And I realized that you need a narrative for the picture to really fully experience it. This project was an elective project that I took on to challenge myself to write. I don't like to write. It's not fun. I write for work sometimes, but it's mainly emails, right? You can write an email very quickly and succinctly and bullet points, 1, 2, 3, and it's out the door and into the ether. Sometimes would write reports. I go through an inspection. I go into a plant and we're inspecting all of these things. And then they tell me these are all the repairs that need to be made. And I'll take that from our project management folks and put that onto paper for the customer to read. And we'll include these photos to help show them that these are the areas, the real weak points that you have. But this blog thing, this is different. This is more narrative. And for me, it was a challenge. And I'll tell you what I wanted to do is share with you what I experienced with creating this blog and some recommendations for anybody that wants to try it. The first challenge that I had was when I chose the project in October of last year. And it took me a couple of months to figure out what I wanted to write about. We all experience this, or some of us do, except for Steve, as when we're creating our speeches. What am I going to talk about? Well, guess what? Everybody, including me, has things that you can talk about that are of interest to other people. Now, I finally decided on my blog topic at 2 a.m. in the San Francisco airport when I was bleary-eyed and realized that I was going to spend the rest of the night in the San Francisco airport on the floor or in those really uncomfortable chairs. And I decided I'll write about travel. And so I created my first blog post, and I had to go out and find a platform. And I found the platform. Luckily, Google makes it easy. They have a platform called Blogger that you can create your blog posts and publish them on the web. And so while I was in the airport, I started to forage for things, for food. Well, everything's closed. And guess what? There's not a whole lot else to do. So I decided, well, this is the time to make my first blog post. And probably not the best time actually to write from the creative process perspective. I mean, I was probably pretty frustrated at that point. No, I wasn't probably. I was very frustrated at that point because it wasn't weather. It was a mechanical issue, which I don't think that's another speech. So the first thing is to decide a topic. And the great thing is this is something that many people experience is travel. So I thought, oh, this is something that I can probably do. And I'll confess that one of the biggest challenges and one of the things that you have to do is once you decide that topic, then start to create outline and a schedule for what you're going to, how frequently you're going to do these things. The project required me to create so many blogs over a few week period. So a few blog posts per week. And I stopped doing, I'll confess, there was a big gap. I did this in December of last year and then didn't do another one until April, and then finished my project in April. So I decided my audience would be my friends and family because they could experience this. And then you have to, the biggest thing is you have to schedule. I thought, well, I'll just create these blog posts whenever I have time. Well, guess what? You never have time. You always have a reason to do something else. So I had to finally decide I was going to sit down and schedule it in the morning when I did my other tasks. You know, I have a list of things that I do every morning, and I thought, well, I can throw some of this in there as well. So when we traveled for vacation, this is when I did my blog post would do my reading, do some my exercise, and then create my blog post. And so it's really important to look at it that way. I would say that I have the benefits of doing this blog post was it really caused me to clarify my thinking. I'm stuck in the airport at 3 a.m, for example, and all I'm thinking about is my discomfort. And then I kind of look around and I realize that, you know, the airport personnel are dealing with all these angry passengers. Houston's my destination that I hadn't gotten to, but all these other passengers were most likely going somewhere else and had missed their connection. People with babies, people that were confined to a wheelchair. I didn't have any kind of that experience. I could kind of empathize with them. And as I'm creating this blog post, I'm clarifying my thinking about these experiences. So I would challenge you, if you have ever thought about it, or maybe you haven't, think about writing a blog post that, if not for any other reason, to help you clarify your thinking. And that was my experience with creating a compelling blog. Back to you.
Well done, Richard. Timer, if we could put a minute on the clock so we can get some feedback to Richard, please. Online
Got it.
people,
Yep, got it.
how do you want to get your feedback from the online people? Just by text?
Yeah, that's fine.
By blog post.
Yeah, blog.
Have to go to that Google app.
That's right. Text or email or whatever. I was gonna, I just realized we don't have our audience cam
I know.
up this week, huh?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. We'll figure it out.
So another camping story. The very first time I went camping with Lori, my wife of 19 years, coming actually 20 years this next year. She said, I don't want to go camping. It's not my thing.
1 minute.
I said, thank you. I said, well, you have to at least try it. And this was back when I had no money. So it was tent camping and it was like roughing it. And she agreed to go. So on our drive out there, after we packed up the truck, I go ahead and put on the mandatory tunes, John Denver, greatest hits. The second I put that on, she said, I'm not listening to that. Shh. I said, well, this is what I have done for every camping trip my entire life. I said, the next hour and a half there, we're listening to John Denver. So she sat in the chair and next to me in the passenger seat and did not talk to me for an hour. And I'm enjoying the tunes. I know what I've got. I've got the ace. After an hour of song 11, It was Annie's song. If you don't know Annie's song, write that down and listen to that today. Halfway through that song, she did one of these. She looked over at me. She goes, "This isn't so bad." And from then on, she's been a John Denver fan. Now, I will tell you, we had a wonderful trip, probably one of the best camping trips I ever had. We had perfect weather. Fast forward a year from that, we went out to have the same duplicated trip. Unfortunately, there's something that a tent, well, there's many things that a tent doesn't defend you from. And one of those things is a 40 to 60 mile per hour wind coming through, which was bringing a cold front, which was bringing rain. So that trip, the first night, we spent it in the bed, not the bed, but inside our truck, just trying to stay warm. And then we spent the rest of the day just going home. So we reemerged with the campers several years after that. I'd like at this point to introduce our distinguished Toastmaster General Evaluator, who's going to carry us through the next part of the meeting, Michelle Cuellar.
Good morning, campers. Welcome to Deerwood Campgrounds. And today I am going to be your guide for the second half of this meeting. But just a friendly reminder, if you, like Jim, are sleeping in a tent, and maybe you only have a tent that's for when it's 40 degrees outside, come to our main office. We are selling the thin tents for hot weather. So we have our, not tents, we have sleeping bags. Also, we have small pillows for those that get a crick in their neck. If you also forgot your lightweight towels, we have those, all for your camping experience. And bug spray is a must. And if you forgot your bug spray, we have that, or we have the fly swatter. All these things that you will need to have a great camping experience. For our next section of the meeting will be our evaluation section. And at this time, I would like to introduce Distinguished Toastmaster Camper Fernando Torregano.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests, and especially you, Richard. Richard, you do many things naturally correct. Okay, it's the practice and the skill that you have attained for, I don't know how many years, 10 or 12 years, whatever it has taken you. For instance, you said the word of the day, forage, you stuck it in there. You had visual contact with everybody. You had plenty of gestures. I mean, you were full of gestures and they counted. Okay. You talked about the photography and I could see you holding a camera and doing this and rolling with a blog and all sorts of facial expressions as well, too. And that was great. It really does. It conveyed what you were feeling at the time. One thing you did not do, which sometimes you have a tendency to do in your speeches, and that's rock. You didn't go back and forth like you usually do. I was expecting that. I was looking for that because I would say that would be something to improve on, but you didn't do that. You actually stood still and you did move a little bit, but you didn't have to move because you were talking about the blog itself. What do I think you can improve on? I would drop the subject at the very beginning. In other words, the 1,000 words, the picture. Okay, you see, I wanted to hear more about the blog itself. In other words, okay, you had a hard time writing that. I wanted to hear something of what you actually put in there. Because I was thinking too, I was thinking, gosh, what would I do? What would I say? I would have enjoyed just hearing what you wrote. So, in other words, but you didn't have enough time, obviously, because you took too much time in the entrance. And you could have just gone right into the blog and said, listen, these are the steps that I took, and this is the result, and this is what I actually did. Okay, in other words, and then kind of leave us with the challenge, which was good too at the very end, the challenge to get into the blog. In fact, now that you said it, I'm thinking to myself, hey, that sounds like a fun thing to do. If we can find a subject. In fact, I would go ahead and share your link on that blog to everybody here. because I like to see what you said about traveling. I've traveled a lot myself, and I would love to see and compare how you sleep at the airport. You know, that would be the tough challenge. Otherwise, I thoroughly enjoyed your speech. Your voice is very pleasant. If nobody has ever told you, you have a good, pleasant speech or a voice, and you project your voice out into this room very easily. I'm sure that, and nobody in the back row had any problems listening to you. And I'm sure that everybody online as well. So with that, great speech, and do it again. Blog again.
Yeah.
Thank you for thank you, Fernando. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you, Fernando. At this time, can we have our camper, Eric Eisenach, to come up and give us our time?
Yeah. Okay, so Richard was actually a few seconds over 7:36. Fernando's evaluation was inside the lines. It was 3 minutes, 12 seconds.
Oh, no.
He made
Thank
time. What happened?
Thank you, Eric. As we need to stay within the line of time, we need to stay on the path at the campgrounds. Let me give you a few other rules here. We also have a lake that you can go canoeing, that you can go swimming. Now, for some of you, it's important that you know bathing suits need to be on at all times. Otherwise, you will be ejected from not the baseball game, you will be ejected from the campground, and you don't want that. You want to enjoy your time there. Let's continue with our next part of our agenda and our meeting today, and that is with our table topics master. And I was really talking to him when I said about the bathing suits. But other than that, Mark, I would like to introduce Mark Vine.
He's coming. He's
But I always forget that one thing.
The bathing suit.
Just say, here we go, guys. What better thing to have on a campsite than a campfire? So we're going to do today, and yeah, what better time really is to share some secrets with the people that you know and people that you don't know. So today, welcome to the campfire. So I've got a bunch of questions here, guys, and we've got plenty of time. So each and every one of you is going to be novel this morning. And the first one this morning is going to be online, and it's going to be John Elledge. What's the dumbest thing someone tricked you into believing?
The dumbest thing someone tricked me into believing. Gosh, Mark, you had to come to me first.
Yeah, I did.
Off the top of my head, I'll tell you. Many years ago, I took a camping trip with my mom and my sister, and we went to Big Bend National Park. And at the time, I was a recent high school graduate. I think I was a freshman in college, and my mom liked to take my sister and I on different adventures. So we went out to Big Bend, and we went to do a hike. We went to do a hike of the south rim of the Chisos Mountains. When we got to the end of the trail, we were going to camp, and then the next morning we were going to hike back. And my mom wanted to make sure we were really outfitted for this trip. And so she read that when you're hiking in the heat, you need to drink a certain amount of water. I don't remember off the top of my head how much water you need to drink a day. A couple of, let's call it 2 or 3 quarts of water that you need to drink to stay hydrated. That's the doctor's recommendation. So she believed that. And so we set out on this hike, and we've got tents, we've got sleeping bags, and we've got gallons of water that we're hiking with. Now, the water certainly kept us hydrated, but water also weighs quite a bit. And when you're hiking 6 to 7 miles with 8 gallons of water on your back, it gets a little tiring. So I will say that was the dumbest thing that I got tricked into. Thank you, Mark.
It's often a time to talk about relationships. And I'm going to ask you, Summer. What's the worst thing you could ever say on a first date? Apart from your paying.
Love this question. The worst thing you could possibly say, I would say, would be more of you go on the date first, you have a good time. When it comes to ending the date and the guy goes in for a kiss, you stop him and you say, hey, this was a great date. I am so happy that the psych ward let me out on a date. Sure, they'd go running for the hills, right? And don't ask me how I know.
How do you know?
It's a secret. Thanks. I know I probably didn't match time on that one, but thanks.
Right.
Point of order, Mark.
Yes, ma'am.
How are we online? How are we supposed to
Eric's showing the
timer?
green.
We don't see anything.
He's showing it in front of the camera.
Yeah, he's showing it in front of the camera. Can you see that, guys?
Oh, I see it now. That camera wasn't on. Okay.
Yeah, some people didn't make time. So yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I want to just welcome a new member to the working fraternity. And I'm not sure if you can be able to answer this right now. But Jacob, and I know you've probably got an answer for this one. What's the dumbest reason you've called into work and say you're not coming in?
So I do follow those things. And for the Deerwood, couple of us went to the Deerwood conference before, but somebody didn't have enough time off for that day. So I told my manager I might be sick in a couple months. My manager being cool, she's like, we'll see about that. Then the day of came, and I called in. I'm not feeling too well. Are you sure? Can't make it. I don't want to get you guys sick. But weren't you talking about a conference? I don't know. My memory's kind of hazy. It kind of affects my mind. I think I just don't want to get you guys sick. I'm doing this for you guys. And she believed it. Not like she's going to call me in. Another time is we went to the basketball game, the NCAA men's finals. Didn't have enough time off. That day,
I think I broke my leg in a couple places. But but it got repaired the very next day, so I was able to find work. So those are some of my very good excuses that I would recommend that you use.
Hosting the conference probably didn't help. I thought March Madness was like caused the fever. Come on, Jacob. Get some creativity.
It's like, yeah. I mean, I wish I was your boss, mate. I'd be going, bullshit. Lee, are you willing to participate?
Sure, I'll give it a go.
Okay, mate. This is a bit of a tricky one.
Okay.
Well, you go into the office and you could wear absolutely anything you wanted to wear in the office. What would that be?
Anything to wear in corporate office America.
Yep.
But outside of casual Friday or pajamas or anything like that, I'd probably take one of those two paths. It'd either be hilarious and some kind of clown costume or Renaissance getup that I maybe agree to let all my friends in on and we did it together, or just the casual pajamas. That way I could sit there very relaxed and comfortable, depending on the temperature in that office. I'd probably just have to go with the group organization ladder. Maybe we all did a kind of, I don't know, all dressed as cowboys, ninjas maybe. We just all kind of hit around the office and then we just try to do that and be funny.
Gotta keep going, mate. Gotta keep going.
Gotta keep going.
Yeah. A few more seconds, mate. A few more seconds, buddy.
A few more seconds.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what else to talk about. Yeah, great. Thank you so much.
I remember once when we had a leaving do for me. I was leaving. I think I was going somewhere. I think maybe come to America. And all my friends decided to have a great party. And somebody decided that they were going to bring a gorilla suit. So everybody's all in the gorilla suit. I remember waking up on the grass outside, sleeping with the gorilla like this, in front of all the bosses that they were driving in. So okay, so next question, guys. This one's for you, Rick. If you had to replace your hands with something and that isn't a hand, what would that be?
What would that be if I had to replace my hands? Probably my tongue.
Oh. I was going to place I didn't think you were going to.
Because if I couldn't wave my hands and talk and so forth like that with my hands, I would have to talk with my tongue. Keep it going and never shut up. And hope that Eric will someday show me a great.
Wrenches or hammers or
The other things in replacing my hands with my tongue, I won't get into that. That could be a little deep. But I think the loss of my hands would be terrible. I saw a little girl the other day on the news or last night that had her hand mangled by a shark, but they managed to put it back together. Hopefully she will recover. She's about 9 years old, and I cannot imagine that happening. I just can't.
Oh, I was seriously thinking with you being mechanical, mate, that you'd be changing it for a drill or something like that. Mate. I didn't think we'd go for the tongue option. That was way out there, mate. I wish we had 3 or 4 minutes, mate. So, you know, and you know, some secrets and stuff like that. So, have you ever had one of those recurring dreams that just keeps happening all the time? Nancy, have you ever had one of those recurring dreams? And what would that be?
Morning, fellow Toastmasters. Yes, I can relate to that. There's a dream that I have where I'm always fighting, and I wake up with bruises, and I'm just like, how did that get there? And it used to be like just random places, and I just, and also in the dream, there's always a place where it's like very hard to reach. So it's like a crawl space, kind of like, what are those things called? When you go into the air conditioning vents, air ducts. So I'm always like having these visions of going inside the air duct and hiding, but I'm obviously fighting because I have bruises. So, but I don't think I ever win the fight. I don't know. It's still a daily occurrence. It's almost like, have you guys seen that movie, The 51st Dates? Where it just keeps happening, or what about Groundhog Day with Bill? Yeah. So it just keeps happening. Actually, that was one of my favorite movies, was The 51st Dates, but I don't want you to go there. Thank you guys for having me.
That's Michelle. I had a cracker for her. Michelle, are you around?
She left.
Oh man, bummer.
And she's back.
And she's back. Oh, there she is.
Oh.
Just in time.
Yeah, that's the only.
You wanted to know Michelle.
Yeah, sorry, that's the only challenge with.
Michelle. Oh, you're back. Great.
Yeah.
I was wondering where you got to, mate. I was wondering where you got to. But I got the perfect
I went for a hike. I was getting bored. So I went for a hike.
No, we're going to mix it right up now. We're going to get you right back on board. If you could ask your pet 3 questions, what questions would they be?
Well, in my adult life, I've had ferrets. I've had a ferret. I've had numerous cats. I've had a greyhound. So first, I would have liked to ask my greyhound. His name was Dat Texas Ace. He was 2 years old when he retired, so he wasn't very good. I would ask him a question about his racing, because if you've ever been to any dog races, they chase a rabbit. That's a stuffed animal, like around. And I would just have to ask about that experience. Like, he was a smart dog. Like, why would you chase that rabbit? That would be one question. And I have kitty cats, and one of them, his name is Itzy. He's black and white. And Itzy will go to Richard. We have an evening routine where he'll go to Richard and let Richard pet him. Then she'll come to me and let me pet him. So I would have to ask Itzy, who do you love more, mommy or daddy? But other than that, just cats. Well, I can speak for cats. Cats communicate very well. When I talk to my cat Pumpkin, a big buff orange kitty, when I talk to him, and he responds by blinking his eyes really slowly. So he's responding to my comment. It's very sweet. I love animals and I love nature. And that's when I would love to talk to the animals. I think there's a song about that too. Back to you, Mark.
Awesome. I'm glad you got back off your long hike. Just to answer that question. Now, Bob, you there, my friend? You there? I know you're a big sports fan. But what sport would be so much better if all the players were drunk?
He's on mute.
You're on mute.
Bob, you're on mute. There you go.
I really have to think hard about that one. What would be better if they were all drunk?
Yep.
Oh boy. I'm still sound asleep.
Me too, Bob. Me too.
Well, I can think of one sport that's really a strange one. I'll leave it to your imagination as to exactly what the rules might be. It's a sport my wife and I used to play when we were dating. It's called Chesterfield Rugby. That one wasn't how we communicated, though. That was a really nice sport to participate in, Chesterfield Rugby. I don't think it would be better if they were all drunk, but it might make them a little more loose in choosing their activities that they would play this game. And I'm just making a fool of myself, so I better get off.
Yeah, sorry about that, mate. Yeah.
Next week, I'll try to wake up on time.
There you go, mate. Yeah, that's good, cool, mate. Yeah. I was thinking the first time I went to baseball, man, I was so pleased they sold beer there. It was a long old game. A long game. Okay. Mr. Fernando. If you could start a cult, what would be the purpose of your cult?
Cult. C-U-L-T.
C-U-L-T, my friend. C-U-L-T.
If I were to start a cult, it would have to be something that would be fun, something that we could possibly learn, something that we could have be enticed into look for more knowledge about it, etc. So the cult I would choose would be science. I love science. I love the things that are being discovered all the time. If you want to go even more specific, I would say astronomy. It's really one of those things that has just been very, very, very enlightening because it feels like we're such tiny little people in such a vast universe, and just the galaxy itself, et cetera, just it's mind-boggling. In other words, that we can see so far and yet not know anything about really the universe because we know very, very little. So if it's going to be a cult, it would have to be a cult of actually learning more about this and finding ways to learn about the universe. Why? Because it reflects back on us that we've been given the privilege of actually being cognizant of it. Okay, and that's the real purpose, the real joy of that we can actually fathom the depth of the galaxy, say for instance, and how it works in such a precision, and how we ourselves are here in a solar system that is very precise, very accurate. And all these things had to come in play in order for us to exist. And that's really the cult that I would like to.
You know, that's the great thing about doing table topics, because you never get the answer that you think. I thought you was going to do a cult about great hair products. Yeah, with a great leader, Vidal Sassoon. The goddess L'Oreal. That's where I thought we were going. You never get what you look for, do you, really, mate? You never get. So we got planets. We got planets now, mate. So I was going to pick on Carla next. Just wanted to have 3 years. Oh, here you go. Carla, there's all these mythical creatures and everything out there. If you could choose one of them as a pet, what mythical creature would you choose?
Thank you for that question. Wow. That's a great question. because I love mythical creatures. I love fantasy. Actually, science fiction is my favorite genre. And by the way, a lot of people mistakenly mix fantasy with science fiction. I want to correct that right now. Those two do not go together. Like if you're a true science buff, you know that science fiction is based somewhat in reality, whereas fantasy is not. So just to clear that up. But I love fantasy nonetheless as well, second to science fiction. And my favorite mythical creature would be a dragon. It would be a dragon because number one, they're very scary and powerful. I like power. I'd like to wield some power myself. So I'm going to pick a dragon because it's powerful. They breathe fire. I personally am very fascinated by fire. Yes, I have an app on my phone that simulates a little fireplace. I do. And I look at it sometimes at night if I can't sleep. I put my little fireplace next to my bed.
Awesome.
It helps me go to sleep. It's crackling in the background, just like a real fireplace. And 3, they can fly. Like, who doesn't want to fly? I would love to fly. If not to forage for items across the earth, just to experience what it's like to look at everything from high above. So a dragon by far. That would be my next reach.
That was a lucky guess. That was a lucky guess. But have you ever read Anne McCaffrey with the Dragons of Pern?
Oh yeah,
Very, very good book. You would love that, mate. You would love that. I'll share that with you.
I forgot about that.
Okay, let's see. Who else we got? Oh, well, I'll pick on Eric. I'll leave him for a little bit later. So,
Steve.
Sorry, Steve. Yeah, I know he's a tough one, mate. He's a tough one. No, I did actually have one down there. It goes back to dreams. This may go on a bit. Describe the strangest dream you've ever had, Steve.
I dreamed I stole Bob's question for table topics. What sport would be better if everybody was drunk? Golf. Think about it, right? Okay. Guys driving golf carts all over the fairway drunk. They're taking out clubs. They may not be hitting the ball, or they may not be hitting the ball on the tee. There may be other balls that they're trying to hit. It could get really, really interesting. I would actually probably prefer watching that on TV as opposed to regular golf. Because when I watch regular golf, I'm kind of like, but if they were all drunk, it was kind of like NASCAR with golf carts and then taking these clubs and clubbing each other. It could be like WWE wrestling and NASCAR and golf combined with alcohol. And think of the sponsors. All the big beer companies. I think that would work. I would actually probably pay-per-view to watch something like that. And you can even throw in midget wrestling as the what do they call it? The caddies, and they would wrestle each other at the pole for who was thinking the flag pole in.
That was also his dream, by the way.
Okay. We've got room for one more. So, Roger, you've not spoken much this morning, mate. So I'm going to give you the opportunity. So, kids' movies. You look back now and you see some of these movies that really scared you as a child, and you look back and we go, "Oh, really?" Roger, let's go. Name a kids' movie that you watched when you were a kid that scared the life out of you, and what scene did it for you?
Thank you. Thanks for the question, Mark. What kids movie scared me and now it's not so scary? Wow. I can tell you, I did watch many movies growing up. I was one of those latchkey kids. I would come home, and growing up, my dad was busy with his business, and I was left to fend for myself. Watched a lot of movies. Not a lot of movies that scared me, though. So honestly, movies are great. I think movies are a chance to, This one's tough, Mark. Now, honestly, I wasn't scared a lot growing up. No. Wow. That was a tough question. Wow. Okay.
Pull it together.
Wow. What movie scared you?
Yeah.
Uh,
I think you missed
blank,
it.
I'm blanking. I'm sorry. Yeah, Mark. Sorry. Sorry, I couldn't
No,
answer that
mate.
question. That was a tough one. I blinked. Sorry. Thanks, though.
Roger's reloading.
Oh, mate, brilliant. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. When I was a kid, I remember you all know Doctor Who, and there was a scene, it's an episode called Doctor Who and the Sea Devils. We used to go visit the South Coast, because that's where my family's from, and they actually filmed it on the same beach that we used to go swimming. So I never went swimming for years and years and years afterwards. But when you look at it now, there's all these little rubbery faces and all the rest of it. I'm not scared of that. Can't say.
Wasn't Pinocchio traumatizing?
It was, but yeah, it was. Yeah, yeah. And Jaws, my family took me to see Jaws when I was 6. So, are we about done? Well, do we have time for one more, guys? You think? Do you have one more?
Yeah, it's 8:02. Yeah.
Oh, two. Okay, all right then. So, Jim, this is going to fall right into again. It's on the movie theme. What's the dumbest movie you've ever paid to see?
The dumbest movie that I've ever paid to see. Well, I have like over 1,000 movies, so I paid for a lot of dumb movies. I'm gonna throw one movie out there. Please never see this. If you have, don't rent it. It's awful. I own it because I bought it for like $2. But MacGruber.
Oh.
Yeah, you know, it's an SNL spin-off of a skit, and the skits are funny on SNL, but when they create a whole movie around it, and the skit itself is this guy's trying to defuse a bomb, and he's got like 10 seconds, and then he keeps like talking until it blows up, right? I mean, that's the reoccurring theme. But to create a whole movie around it was pretty bad. So on the flip side, I'm going to throw out there some of the best movies. I mean, Disney does do a good job with the Little Mermaid. That's probably one of my favorite movies. The Beauty and the Beast. You know, these are classics. The worst Disney film. I don't know. I'm gonna get some heat for this because it's a good movie. My wife likes it, but I just can't get through Hercules. That's just not. I just can't do it. So the worst Disney movie, Hercules. There we go.
One nice one was Rocky Balboa. It was like the 4th in the franchise.
All right.
Man, I'll never get those 2 hours back, mate. I never will get those 2 hours back. Crazy. We got time for one more?
It's 8:04.
It's 8:04.
We've got reports that need to be done.
Okay, we've got reports to be done. Guys, I'm now going to put out the campfire. Thank you very much for your participation this morning, guys. Really, back to you, Michelle.
Thank you, Camper Mark. At this time, can we have Camper Eric to come up and give us a timers report, please?
Okay, so Summer and Bob did not make time. They fell short, but everybody else qualified. We had John Elledge at 131, Jacob Polomsky at 214, Lee at 104, Rick Massey at 122, Nancy at 108, Michelle at 147, Fernando 156. He did double duty today. Carla at 122, Steve Buckhay 126, Roger Young 126, Jim Polomsky 116. And that is your Table Topics Timers report.
Thank you, Camper Eric. Since we only had one speaker, we only had one evaluator. There is no reason to vote on those, but please send your votes to Camper Summer. No, we're not talking about you can camp in the summer because you can camp in the fall, the winter, the spring. But please send your votes to Camper Summer.
I'll say my number again just in case if anyone needs it. 713-314-0152.
Very good. Just as Mark put his campfire out, that is very important to do before you leave the campground. But for those of you who are still foraging for twigs, I don't want you cutting down any trees in this campground. Get your twigs, get your logs, make your fire, bring your own special wood, so be it. But do not cut down any of the trees. We won't have a forest. We won't have a campground if we do that. As far as my evaluation, I unfortunately was on a hike and I forgo my responsibility for evaluating Fernando Camper Torregano's speech. But we know, we'll just say ditto. Ditto. Fernando does a great job, ditto, each week when he evaluates. So we'll just give him a ditto this week. So just like Reese does. Fernando, you're always spot on. But I did hear the part when you were telling Richard that he did not do something that you were ready to evaluate him poorly on, that he didn't do it this time. So that's a good thing. And Fernando, you always give us great advice. Let's continue with the evaluation of our camping experience. Please help me welcome Camper Carla to give us our grammarians report.
Thank you. So today for our word of the day, we had some great usage. Lots of people were foraging for ways to use the word and did a fantastic job. Summer used the word of the day. Michelle used it twice. Richard used the word of the day. I used the word of the day. And Fernando talked about the word of the day, so I'm counting that. He used the word of the day. I did not notice any mistakes as far as grammar. There were some ahs, there were some double words. Richard, I counted a few double words and a few ahs as well. And Fernando, I counted a double word. Eric, I counted an ah. And Lee, a couple of ahs. Rick, an ah. Nancy, a few ahs. And Roger, I think you were a little nervous with your question on tables topics, so we had some ahs. And that's all for the grammarian report.
Thank you, Camper Carla. Great job, everyone. Camper Jim, you are spectacular at starting on time. No matter if we have to rush into the campground to get to the campsite, you will make sure we start on time. So great job with that. At this /Toastmaster/camper, Jim Polomsky.
All right, Summer, do you need more time or do you have a count for us?
We are tallied and I'm ready to give the winners.
Excellent, let us know.
For best speech by default. Oh, wait. Fernando's sending in something late. Okay, actually, it doesn't change anything. Best speech by default is Richard Newman. Best evaluation, Fernando.
By DQ.
Best chair, Mark. And best table topics, Miss Carla. Woo!
Excellent. Thank you, Summer. Appreciate that. We have a few minutes. Let's talk about next week. Our topic is dinosaurs. Dinosaurs. Do we have anybody that would like to do a speech next week?
I'm going to try. I wasn't prepared today because I was really busy, but I'm going to try to aim and shoot for next Friday. Jacob, can I find a time that you can help me with maybe some Photoshop and PowerPoint presentation? I can help. Okay. Do you know how to work Photoshop?
So as they're discussing that, other roles, joke master, word of the day, timer, vote counter, anything for next week that anybody wants?
Hey Jim, I'm gonna be out of town next week. I'm not gonna be able to make the
I'll be
meeting.
Toastmaster.
Okay, thank you, Jacob.
We'll see you tomorrow.
I can do
Okay,
pledge.
Master Steve. What was that, Summer?
Summer will do pledge.
Okay, Summer will do pledge.
Nancy's word of the day. Nancy's word of the day.
Awesome.
Jim,
Nancy,
I
for
can,
the day.
Michelle can do evaluations if needed.
Okay, cool. I will do a speech next week. See, we've got general evaluator table topics.
I'll be the GE next week, Jim.
Okay, thank you.
You can put me on for table topics.
Table topics?
Yeah, I'll be virtual.
Okay, awesome. Okay, I think we've got just about everybody. And are you doing a speech, Joe?
I'll let you know that I just can use Jacob's help if he's available.
Yeah, I'll help you, Jim.
And if Joe can't go, I'll step in for him, and maybe somebody else can take GE.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. So I think we've got just about everybody filled here. Lee, would you like to tell us how you heard about us and what you thought of our meeting today?
I heard about the meeting from a little guy named Jim. I didn't mean that literally. He's just always.
Thanks, Lee.
You're just always out and inviting me out to cool events and places, so I appreciate that. And I thought it was great. I like to see everyone kind of try to improv for the table topics. I think that was probably my favorite part. And it actually is a challenge that I would like to participate in more. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, and as we close out the meeting, just a reminder, we've got a party tomorrow. Lee, you're invited if you want to come to the party tomorrow. I'll tell you more about it. 12 to
The address.
say again.
The address.
I have it on the group chat. And if anybody texts me directly, I'll
Okay.
yeah. And folks, I'm gonna have plenty of food, so come hungry, please. And I've got salad, I've got all kinds of stuff for everybody. So anybody have any last things before we close the meeting? Dinosaurs next week, be here.
Great, you guys want to?
Oh, yeah, that's, yeah.
Hey, Colin.
Yeah.
100%, so.
Yeah.
If y'all wanna do something, also. In the parade.
Bye, Bob. Take care.
Yep.
Nice to meet you, Lee. Good, Roger. You know what? When you're giving your table topics, you can change the topic. You could have said, I don't remember this, but you know what? My favorite movie is blah, blah, blah. Or I love to go to the movies. One of the movies I've seen recently. So you can change it and do a different segue.
Thank you. Yeah,
Because I know you have lots to say. And it's just practicing. That's all. It's just practicing. We're challenging our brain. That's all.
And
Bye, Bob.
so I just
Lee, it's nice to meet you. Hope to see you again.
Nice to meet you as well. I like the theme we had going on today too. So that's fine.
Yes, I tried to be outside, but I lost connection. That's why I had to come back in the house.
Oh, I see. That makes sense. Yeah. Nice to meet
Bye,
you as well.
Fernando.
That was like, yeah, was a good question. Yes. That's cute, that's good.
Yeah, I know you like to say that.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I better get these ballots out here.
So all the way from the hours in the middle of the short.
Get these right here.
Yeah. All the way back.
Oh, you got some more here.
Right.
It's been in the whole meeting. They rock all the time.